Welcome to this video on how to complete the intro reflection on cigarette litter. The first thing you need to make sure that you do is go to course content and look at the information on how to write a reflection for ESC 1110. There is important background there and things that you need to know, so make sure you read that document carefully before you start working on a specific reflection assignment. For this reflection assignment, you're going to be looking at the issue of cigarette litter and looking at how that relates to the material that you've learned about in the Introduction to ES module and in the Matter, Energy, Resources, and Pollution module. Make sure that you have a copy of the specific directions for this reflection, which are found in the Matter, Energy, Resources, and Pollution section of course content. The first thing you'll see is that there are links to 3 different web pages. Make sure that you read the material on those web pages, and that will give you background on what it is that we're discussing or reflecting upon in this particular assignment. Then, when you open the PowerPoint, this is the first slide of the PowerPoint that you'll be filling out, and you fill this out in a way similar to the way that you do your activity files. You'll see that there are 3 squares and 3 text boxes. This first slide is where you are going to use your digital camera, and you're going to take 3 pictures that illustrate some aspect of this issue of cigarette litter. Each picture then will go in its appropriate box, so you simply insert your pictures, and you'll need to crop and resize as appropriate to fit into the box. So you'll have 3 pictures that you made, and then you have a place where you can type a caption, and the caption needs to explain what the picture is and how the picture relates to the issue of cigarette litter. And captions are always in complete grammatically correct sentences. You will not have any problem finding pictures to take for this issue. Once you are aware of it, and once you start looking for this kind of thing, you will find that it is everywhere. Now, it is our preference that you not have 3 pictures of a cigarette butt laying on the ground in 3 different places. Try to get 3 different aspects or 3 different angles on the issue. So for instance, you might have a picture of a cigarette butt laying in a flower bed, and then another picture of the cigarette butts that are all on the ground around a receptacle or a trash can. You might have a picture of a cigarette butt floating on the water to indicate how these things wash into our waterways. There are a lot of ways that you can approach this, a lot of different ideas, and it's perfectly fine also to have a picture showing or maybe illustrating how we could address the problem. It might be a picture of signage, or it might be a picture of a pocket ashtray or something like that. That would be perfectly acceptable here as well. So 3 pictures that you make with your digital camera, 3 captions describing what the picture is, how it relates to the issue in complete sentences. Now we'll move on to slide 2. In slide 2, you're going to reflect on this issue. We've provided a text box for you, and notice that the instructions in the text box ask you to please not use the enter key unless you're starting a new paragraph. If you do, what happens is it capitalizes the first letter of your next line, and you may not want to do that. It looks like you're starting a new sentence, and that can be very confusing for your instructor when they're scoring this. So make sure you only use the enter key when you are starting a new paragraph. Referring back to the directions for this assignment, you'll see slide 2, cigarette litter reflection response. Once again, make sure you have reviewed how to write a reflection found in course content. Look at the reflection points and consider them carefully in light of your observations and in light of the information that you've learned, not only in the units and modules that we've covered in the course so far, but also in the materials that we've given you earlier. When we look at the reflection points, we have 3 questions. How do you feel about cigarette litter personally? Do you know anybody who does this, or do you do this? And does this information change your behavior? And what are some ideas you can offer to address this issue? While you're thinking about this and reflecting upon this, you need to also consider that there is a lot of research, there's a lot of information on this particular issue available. And so as you're writing your reflection responses, you must have at least one reference from an outside source that is cited. A lot of this is going to be your opinion and thoughts about the topic, but you should also have some source of information from a credible outside source, such as a journal article, newspaper, or government agency website. However, you may not use your textbook or any of the materials or websites that are provided for you as a part of the assignment. In other words, you have to find something else on your own that's your own thing that you're adding to the reflection. Slide 3 is entitled Relevance. Here we want you to think about how this issue relates to course material that we've covered in the Intro to Environmental Science and the Matter, Energy, Resources, and Pollution modules. Think about what you've learned in these modules. How do various aspects of this issue relate to the material in these modules? Thoughtfully explain how the following module topics apply to this issue. And these are what we're referring to as the relevance points. So think about this issue in terms of, from the Intro to Environmental Science unit, Tragedy of the Commons and Worldviews, and then think about this issue in terms of Characteristics of Pollution and the IPAT equation, and develop some thoughts on how this issue relates to these topics that have already been covered in the course. These 2 slides, the reflection and the relevance slides, must contain no fewer than 300 total words. In other words, your writing on this must be 300 words or more. But however, please don't add any more slides. You're welcome to change the font size if needs be, so that your material doesn't run off of the slide or require more slides. And we can read font sizes down to about 10 point if that's needed. However, you don't have to write a dissertation on this, but it does have to be a minimum of 300 total words. You can use the word count function of a word processing program to check the number of words if you need to. If you use a word processing program to write this material, then copy and paste the appropriate material into the appropriate text boxes in PowerPoint. Points will be deducted if the total number of words between slides 2 and 3 is less than 300. The last slide is a slide for citations. You need to cite the pictures that you make. Now this is very, very simple and straightforward. You simply need to put the date and location of where you took the picture, and you need to do it for each one. Notice that there is a spot for picture 1, picture 2, and picture 3. So simply click in the text box and type in when and where you took the picture. So for instance, this could be something along the lines of, for picture 1, maybe along Highway 153 in Hickson, June 10th, 2013. That is an appropriate citation. It doesn't have to be in a complete sentence. That would be an appropriate citation for one of the pictures. In this next text box, you have to do a citation for the outside reference that you used in your reflection slide. This needs to be in APA format, and there are guidelines and directions for citing various types of material in APA format in the course content area of eLearn. But you must have a properly formatted, that means APA style, text citation for the reference that you make in your reflection slide. One thing you need to make sure you do is that when you do reference an outside, one of the things that you need to make sure you do when you do reference an outside work is that you need to put the author of the work and the date in parentheses. In other words, I have to be able to see right where the material that you're referencing is on that reflection slide. Otherwise, you'll have points deducted for not referring to your outside source in your reflection. This is a part of the assignment, and so you do require one. A lot of students will just put in here, did not use an outside reference. Well, that means you're going to get points taken off because it's not optional. It is a requirement. When you are finished with your assignment, make sure that you not only save it as a PowerPoint or whatever program that you're using to fill out the PowerPoint file, but also save it as a PDF file. Always check your PDF before you upload it to the Dropbox to make sure none of the text has run off the slide, to make sure that everything has rendered properly, and make sure it looks good before you send it to the Dropbox. Also, remember the only type of file that will be accepted in the Dropbox is a PDF. If you upload the PowerPoint file, it will not be considered to be turned in, and you will probably get an email indicating that you need to fix that situation, convert it to a PDF, and then resubmit it. One last thing, always save copies of any photos, PowerPoint files, and PDF files that you make for the course. Never delete a course assignment file until you are absolutely sure you won't need it anymore, which means not until after the course is over. Never delete anything until we are completely done with the course. I hope you enjoy doing this assignment. It's one that a lot of students really get into. It's stuff that they've never really thought about before. It really helps you to see the connections between what you're learning about in the course and the real world. And it might just change your mind about some things that you never gave a lot of thought to before.